Today, I'm going to try and beat one boss in Cuphead with just my voice. Lump dash. Jump. Jump. Special. Right. Right! Turn left. I recently beat Cult the Lamb using only voice commands, and coming off that high, I for some reason wanted even more of a challenge. I wanted to beat Cuphead. But actually, I kind of didn't, as really, that just sounds too hard. So I wanted to at least beat one boss in Cuphead. If you haven't seen any of these kind of challenges before, I'll be using a program whereby saying certain words will input keyboard commands into the game, allowing me to play. I've played this game casually and enjoyed the challenge of it, but now, with only my voice, we'll find out what gives out first, the boss or my mind. I start off by giving myself the basic commands for movement and confirm to select things, and I'll add more once they're needed. I boot into the game and decide to go through the tutorial to relearn what controls I'm going to need to make commands for. We quickly get some new ones with Smite and Smeft, smaller movements to right and left so that I could actually get into the tutorial prompt. And then once in it, I already needed jump and shift to be able to dash onto the first big platform. I do change this command to dash quite soon after, however. I tried them as separate commands to begin with, but they weren't going to work like that when both buttons needed to be pressed together. Jump, shift. I added a small combo command of rump dash that jumps right and performs a dash too. I had to fine tune this one a bit as it wasn't quite there to begin with, as the jump was a quicker press and the right press needed to actually be held in a little bit longer. Rump dash. Oh. Left. Jump. Rump dash. Yes. I also then added lump dash for the same jump to the left. Then after, a quick descent was added to get down. We then arrived at the shooting tutorial, usually very simple. Hold down the lock button and then hold the joystick in the direction that you want to shoot. But with voice commands, it was going to be a little bit more tricky for me. I started with a simple fire to shoot the projectiles. It would hold down the button for a little bit, shooting for a brief period of time. I did try shoot for a while, but the program had a hard time picking up my S's and I wasn't about to start enunciating anything correctly. Now, I needed to figure out the aim. You usually hold the joystick in the direction that you want to fire in, but with how slow saying each command can be, I'd have to have a much more rigid approach to this. So I now needed lock to enter the mode where I can actually aim around, unlock to leave this state, and upright to be able to aim at the target. I'd have to say upright and fire after each other just to be able to pass this test, as I didn't want a one-time combo command. Upright, fire. Next, I arrived at the parry section of the tutorial. Parry is when you jump and while still airborne, you press the jump button again to perform parry action on pink objects. I found this section pretty awkward overall. To start with, I added simple commands like rump and lump to do a jump and a directional movement so that I could easily get back onto this box. Getting the parry to work was pretty tough from the starting point. I tried variations of rump and rump dash with another jump command after, but with the voice control lag, it just wasn't going to happen without making a separate command to double tap jump and move right again and again. I made a rump dash parry in a desperate attempt to try and get something to work, but that too didn't work too well. Right dash parry. I tried a few times jumping around before making the command parry to perform two jump actions with the hope of hitting the second one. I then also added rally, which would do a rump dash and then hit the jump button again. This one actually did work for the first parry object, but then I realised that I was going to have to reset the parry object so that the left one would actually be on again. This ended up taking quite a bit of time to be able to manoeuvre myself under them and then use the parry command. While doing these resets a few times, I got the idea that maybe I could just use the right parry object and maybe get onto the block from just that one. Rump. Parry. Rump. Parry. Rump. Rump. Rary. Finally making it past the parry section after about 30 minutes of trying, I quickly did another parry to resurrect the non-existent teammate I'm going to have in this playthrough, and then I made it over to the last bit where we use our powerful EX move. I added the command special to fire off our big attack that we collect up when hitting a target or parrying. Now I could collect my coin and finish off the tutorial, only taking a cool 1 hour and nearly 20 commands to get through. I'm better than some game reviewers. Now that it was time to start heading to the bosses, it was time to decide which one I wanted to conquer. There were two options at the beginning of the game: the root pack, a group of root vegetables, or the slimy guy, Goopy Legrande. There was also the run and gun, but I was not willing to put myself through that with these commands. I started off trying with Goopy. He would bounce around the stage and sometimes give a good punch. I immediately then decided to add another command of downfire that holds the down and fire keys together, allowing me to continually crouch while firing. This was in an attempt to dodge the hits from Goopy. We also then needed get up to stand back up. I found after having done Cult of the Lamb with voice commands that you really end up hyper-focusing on patterns, as you won't be able to react or move as fast as a normal controller, but you can try and find the patterns and work with them. I found this boss to be quite RNG with his bounces, whether he would do a big bounce off the wall or land straight down. It also may have depended on how much I'd hit him so far to whether he did these certain moves. I really wasn't too sure. There was one pattern however that felt like it was a bit better than the others. I could wait at the starting location when I entered the stage for a little bit, letting him bounce over me and then get back down and fire to dodge the potential punch. If the pattern was good, he'd jump over me again and I wouldn't even have to move before getting him to phase 2. But the pattern then also decided if he was facing me in this stage or not. Once he hit in this next phase, he gets a lot bigger, and as he's so big in this phase, it's much harder for me to be able to time my slow movements to get under him. So I tried more staying in the corners and hoping he'd bounce over me. I kept at this boss for another hour or so trying to see what I could get. I only ever got close to finishing phase 2 a couple of times however. Right. Yeah, I can't move when I'm in. So this is my life now if I sit here. Up. Up. I can't remember how to get out of this. Well, it's my life now. Might work. Special. What was that? Is there a different special when you're, like, down? I then decided to go and try the route back. They have 3 phases of the fight where each phase is just slightly different. The first phase was already really hard for me as I had to get multiple jumps in after each other, and with the voice lag making things quite tough for me. Jump. Because I've got fire. Fire. Okay, it's going great already. It even started to feel like the word jump, with its 2 syllables, was a bit too long to easily be able to string together in time for the jumps. I ended up spending quite a while trying multiple shorter words, but I also didn't want the commands to be pure nonsense or I'd never be able to remember them correctly. I tried J for a bit because it was quite easy to say, but then I ended up with Jup. It was slightly shorter and did seem to get picked up by the program quite well. It did however make me seem a little bit more crazed than usual. Jump, jump, jump. Ah, oh. Jump, 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 jump. After failing a lot and not even making it to the second phase once, I ended up trying putting the Root Gang on simple difficulty, just to see how I'd fare on the second phase. Safe to say, I don't think I'll be doing this boss. Even on simple, I don't think I'll be able to move around in time and be able to attack the homing carrots. After then heading back to the overworld, I did realise that I forgot to talk to this guy at the beginning of the game, and he then gave me some coins allowing me to purchase something from the store. This was a really tough choice for me as I'd have to restart the whole save if I chose wrong and wanted to try something else. I was leaning towards the extra heart just to be able to tank more hits, or perhaps the homing attack which would allow me to try and focus more on my movement. After a lot of deliberating, I ended up going with the homing attack in hopes that it would give me more options. This then gives us another command of switch, allowing me to switch between my 2 attacks. Let's hope this was a wise choice. I went back to Goopy and decided to try out the new weapon for a bit. But honestly, I didn't feel like I got much progress from it, still not getting very far into the second phase. I did decide to switch to the root pack for a bit just for a change of pace for my mental sanity after all the failures on Goopy. I thought earlier that I would honestly avoid this boss completely as the jumping seemed beyond me. However, I found that I actually started to get in a bit of a rhythm with it, and was successfully making the consecutive jumps fairly regularly and even getting myself to the second and third phase in normal difficulty. I then had one run where I accidentally had aim stuck on and couldn't turn around to face the second phase boss. Left. Wait, unaim. Unlock. Left. Turn right. Wait. What? This, however, ended up unlocking a secret phase of the boss that I honestly hadn't seen even in my normal playthrough. I wasn't sure if this phase was one I actually wanted to pursue, however, as the spinning top guy was a bit too quick for my mouth to be able to keep up with. But I was starting to think that maybe I could actually beat this boss. After a few more failed attempts on both the normal phase and the secret phase, I decided to give in and switch to simple mode. I was still fairly confident on this boss overall, as sometimes I got through the first phase with no hits at all, and using the special to try and get through the second phase quickly, I'd make it to the third phase. But in simple mode we only had the first and third phase to deal with now, so if I could get through the first phase with a max 1 hit, I may stand a chance of doing the third phase. However, I'd still run into issues of my voice command program not always getting what I said. Fire. Jump. 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 Why aren't you picking anything up? I was actually now kind of grateful for the homing attack that I bought earlier, as it was able to help me out with the carrots that were flying around me. Dodging the boss's laser eyes, however, was proving a far more challenge for me. Dash. 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 Lob dash. Lob dash. Rub dash. With what felt like the end in sight, I kept grinding runs to really try and iron out my strategy, and then we had it. Jump. 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 Switch. Special. 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 Dash. Dash. Left dash. Dash. Turn right. Turn left. Dash. 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 Turn right. Dash. Special. 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 Dash. 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 Turn left. Yes. Oh. That is how you beat one boss in Cuphead with only voice commands. I honestly didn't think it would have been the root pack I beat at the start of this, and I'd still like to try and give it a go on regular difficulty. But for now, if you reckon there's any other bosses or games that may be fun with voice commands, or want to see any other kind of challenges, subscribe and let me know. I'll see you next time.